And at half-time, it's been good, lively stuff, Neil.
Very absorbing game, very competitive, and not disappointing us in terms of quality as well. Munster slow to start, but they seem to be grinding their way back into it. Just basic stuff there, that's what they need to do. O'Gara still out of sorts though, it's incredible. O'Leary making up for some of the mistakes that he's making there, but their pack are beginning to grind. But Ulster, I think Ulster are very competitive. They're, the first 25 minutes they were the only team in it, really. So.
Yeah, well, Munster didn't get their first line out until the 10th minute. That shows you how much possession. Right from the kick-off, Ulster took the kick-off, Ulster won it back, and they were in possession, and they were in right just in front of us here. They played field position as well. There was a brilliant opening half. And look at Paul O'Connell, as the captain, he's really stepped up to the mark.
Would it be a stretch, though, to say that de Villiers' try was against the run of play?
I think so. Ulster looked very, very confident. They were controlling the ball and they were dictating field position, and they looked very comfortable with it. It actually says an awful lot here that Ulster have the confidence to defend their breakdown, and that's why O'Leary got away here. There's only 2 or 3 fellas defending it there. Thought he gave the pass a little bit early, but Shivkovsky was caught there.
Look at the position of scrum half. A lot of teams traditionally have the scrum half in the neutral position. Isaac Boss was out in the blind side. There was no one there now, so that's a little bit of miscommunication.
Well, Ryan Caldwell, he took his eye off the ball, and O'Leary loves those positions where the ball is stuck in the middle of the ball, and he just picks and goes, and the pillar on either side isn't able to get to him quickly enough.
We flagged up Ian Humphreys pre-game, and he hasn't let us down so far.
He's been very good, hasn't he? What a return! He scored all the points for a start. But a mangled scrum, in fairness, from Ulster, and great confidence there in Ian Humphreys. And when it's going your way, the ball bounces for you. When it isn't, it doesn't. But again, where is the reserve defence from a Munster point of view? Isaac Boss might have drifted on on the try that John de Villiers got, but the Munster defence there. But fantastic confidence, and the ball bounces perfectly for him. Great reply.
They're throwing the ball around, and Nagusa seems to be asleep at the moment there, but all the outside backs are running with real threat. Like Wallace is playing well. They can score tries there, and I think the Munster defence was caught a little bit short by what was going to happen. They knew there was a penalty had been given, so I'm surprised that somebody wasn't doing a rearguard action in behind there in the dead ball line, but he took his opportunity very well.
Wallace had an opportunity before he got a score, so it was kind of in the offing. Another good finish, but it came from...
Well, this is what Donal Lennon... Well, we'll have a look at the try first. Wallace, his mid-body strength is just phenomenal. He should have been grounded there from the first. And watch Paul O'Connell here, when he's actually down, Paul O'Connell actually rooks somebody out of the way so that Alan or Elaine Rowland can get a better... Here we go. Should be down now at this stage. Still up on his feet there. Munster forwards get in behind him.
But the young guy, Willie Falloon, there at 7, that's a big lesson learned for him. When he comes in on Monday and he sees that, he has to, with someone like David Wallace, who's a world-class ball carrier, who scores, I don't know how many tries from that position. Willie Falloon had an opportunity from the very outside. So his instinct, the lesson he'll have learned is, there's a penalty, where's Wallace? And he should immediately focus in on where Wallace is, and they should triple team him, because that's what it takes to put a player of his quality down.
One of the things that what Ulster were actually trying to do there was that shorten the line out, because it was a 5 yard, so that they'd have more forwards close to the ball and they can get them all set quicker. And for some reason, Caldwell, who can't stop giving away penalties at this stage, stepped from a scrum half position into the line out, and it was an instant free kick. Don't know what he was at.
Guys, thanks very much for the moment. So 14 points to 10, delicately poised then at Thomond Park in Limerick at half-time, 24 points to 10. The bonus point secured by Munster tonight at Thomond Park against Ulster. And as it stands, they're level with Ulster on 19 points at the top of the Magners League table. So Liam Tolan, what was all the fuss about? Normal business restored, you would think.
Well, the key ingredient that was so obvious, and obviously Tomás Leary one man a match at a great game, but the Munster second rows were extraordinary today. O'Callaghan and O'Connell, I thought O'Connell was absolutely fantastic as the captain, and there was a different intensity about what they did in every aspect. They fought for every single 50-50 ball, and the errors were right down low. It was a much better improvement, a much better performance than in Scotland last week.
Neil, Donnacha O'Callaghan's got a bit of stick from some quarters lately. I think you've had 1 or 2 words to say about him. Good performance. I mean, do you agree with Liam that the second row won the match essentially for Munster?
No, I thought Ulster were a little bit unlucky. At one stage, they were right in the game. At 19-10, I think the game was lost. They were resolute, they were composed, they were assured, they kept their shape in defence. And at 19:10, they were looking to nick a bonus point. I think the match had already been, their line-out had collapsed. They lost about 5 line-outs, and maybe that's where the pressure came on. Munster started competing in the line-out and nicking a few of their balls. And I thought, it's typical Munster there, just at the very last minute, like Man United, 80th minute, and they get the opportunity to take the...
But it's a costly opportunity. Also, you say they were a little unfortunate. They made a call to attack from their own goal line. There's a 2-point bonus point spread lost there.
Oh, yeah.
So in other words, that's going to come down at the end of the season. Ulster at that stage, was the reward and the risk that was essential? They went for a bonus point.
They went for it
from their own goal line. You have to still weigh up the chances a small bit as well. So in the mood that Munster are in, Humphreys takes the ball, carries it into 2 O'Connell, they tore him apart. Bonus point, that's going to come back to haunt them at the end of the season.
But that was the other element, the Munster chase. They were actually hungry tonight. They still made mistakes, but you could see the hunger was back now. It was an imperfect performance, but it'll give them huge confidence for the Perpignan game. If they hadn't won tonight and won well,
imperfect in what sense in particular?
They were still making mistakes. O'Gara's not where he should be at this moment in the season. Maybe playing for Ireland will actually accelerate his healing process, and he might become the player that he is again. But he was making an awful lot of mistakes there, particularly sort of 25-30 minutes there. He gave away a penalty, then he kicked the ball directly into touch, and then a nameless kick, and you just thought his performance is leaking away from what it should be. But he came back into the game, but he was given a platform tonight. I mean, his back 5 from numbers 4 to number 8 were very good tonight, and they put a huge amount of pressure on Ulster. Ulster looked good against other teams. Leinster didn't put the sort of pressure that they could have, and then they've met a strong team who finally got their act together. They put Ulster under the cosh,
But that's why I say Ulster aren't absolutely unlucky in a sense. They actually met a Munster side that have the pedigree, have the talent, have the experience, and tonight they had the passion and the intensity as well. So it's going to be very, very difficult for them. And there was a couple of key changes on the 55th minute. Humphreys, who was growing in stature, he missed touch on a penalty kick, and then there was a return in the 57th minute where he bobbled it out here in front of us. Big change then. O'Gara stepped into the void that Humphreys had kind of left behind, and he controlled and mastered the end of the game.
It was an absorbing game, like the sort of the ebb and flow. But eventually, the guys who owned this cathedral knew exactly what to do, and the crowd were behind them, and they did exactly what they needed to do to close the deal.
I suppose the Earls try really knock the stuffing out of Ulster coming as it did so close to half time and put that gap between them.
Yeah, we have a look at it here. One of the things that amazed me that on such a brilliant night for playing rugby, that Nagusa was such a poor player. He was the worst player on the pitch, and he was taken off in the 51st minute. Lovely flat pass from O'Gara, and he does it twice there. Comes on the blind side again. I think that was O'Callaghan. Very good driving situation. Ball is slow. O'Gara decides to take. That was the lead up to it.
This is from the resulting line out.
This is the resulting line out. O'Gara flat pass. And what's Nagusa doing there?
Not his finest display in Nagusa tonight. That was poor enough defensively.
He was a bit sleepy, but look when O'Callaghan got the ball off the pass earlier on. Look at the amount of numbers came in behind him. Like O'Callaghan went into contact, but there were 4 guys behind him, and straight away they gained 7-8 metres. I know it slowed down at the end; it became a bit of a dogfight. That's a monumental difference from last week.
The bonus point try, of course, was crucial. It looked for a long period like they weren't going to get it, and then right on 80 minutes, Neil, they nabbed it.
Yeah, I was. Both myself and Liam were quite surprised there. They've had a full back row in there against a Munster scrum that had struggled all night. So why they didn't take a man out there? And I thought the most dangerous player on the pitch and the most effective for Munster has been Warwick, and it's been Warwick all season. And a simple 8-9 there. If we have a look at it,
but you look at Darren Cave was off the pitch at this stage. There's still the sin binning. So again, it goes back to were Ulster unfortunate, or were they thinking their way? Had they the pedigree? Would Munster have done this? I think that it became a numbers. Warwick did exceptionally well, but it became an issue of numbers. Ulster had a comment, as Neil is saying, had a very strong scrum. Their number 8 should have gone out or failing that, Marshall at scrum half should have conceded the scrum and gone out into the channel, which he's entitled to do as well. But they allowed Warwick the opportunity to run into that space.
Well, I'll tell you, we'll come back